For you to access macros, you'll have to have the developer options. And if you remember well, you right click, then you can right click, then go to customize ribbon, and then you go to the pop-up that you have here. Then you make sure developer tab is checked. Then you're going to have this. When you click on that, you can see you have several more options. You have macros, then you have Visual Basics. Now Visual Basics will be now the environment where you'll be now creating your macros and maybe experimenting on them, seeing whether they are working. You can have also, because you don't know how to type them, the easiest, and this is very essential to those people who don't know or they don't want to start messy creating codes, etc. Recording a macro is something very useful when you have same tasks all the time, or maybe you just want to automate that. So I want to quickly go through that. Now suppose, for example, this is the data. I usually get this from my database, and I want to maybe do several things, like so I receive something looking exactly like this. Now the first thing I usually do is to come create some formats here, some kind of a format. Go on that one, I create something like a thick outside border to denote where whatever the table is. Come here and highlight the whole of that table. I want to fill something like that, and also I want to create all the borders and then fence the whole of my table like that with a thick outside border. And again, for example, I want to make the countries italics. So this is what you usually do on daily basis. We are assuming that. Now, doing that on daily basis sometimes might be tiresome. You can just create or record yourself doing the steps, and then you can just be clicking just on a single button or just running that macro using a shortcut, and everything will just go exactly as they. So what I'm going to do, just going to move my data somewhere, control copy. I want to create a new sheet. I want to paste this only as this. No, there are no values. I want to create yeah, so I want to paste them as values. Okay, let me paste them somewhere here. You're going to see why I'm doing this. Control minus, just disappear. Now, so for you to record a macro, you need to have the, like I say, developer tab. Now you can see here we have an option for recording macro, which is still the same one here. You can click either of the two. So you just click on a record macro. You're going to have this pop up. You can name the macro. Let's say this is a format macro. Format. Now you can decide to create a shortcut for that. I'm not planning to do that, and you can locate or just decide to either keep that macro within this workbook or maybe in a new workbook somewhere else. You can give a description of that macro, like for example, formatting the data from maybe the database. Click on OK. You can see now this is it has changed to now this is stop recording. Now this means that any click that or any change that you're going to make on this cell here or any cell here, it's going to be recorded by our macro and it will reflect on the code. Now the first thing, highlight that. I want to go to home and I want to fill the whole of that header. Then I want to create the borders and then a thick outside border for that, and then I want the whole of this to have a field color like that one there. This time I'm going to change the font color for this one. Let's check, for example, I want to change it to green. No, let me take, let me just have red, and then this will be italics, bold and italics like that. I want to resize this to fit everything there. I want to resize them. So remember, everything is being recorded. Also this one. I think that should be enough. Now that I've done all the steps, you can just click on back to developer tab. You click on a macro to stop that. Click on that, and now we have a macro somewhere. If you want to go and access that, you click on Visual Basics and then navigate to the module. But again, you can just click on macros and you'll have all the macros that are within that workbook. Now, the only one that I have here is this format. I might want to run this, but then you remember this data, we have altered everything here. So I want to go grab some new fresh data, and then we work on that and see whether it's working. But I want to show you how exactly this is looking like. Now, if you click on edit, you can see this is what we have. We are now in Visual Basics. These are the steps that we did. You remember we added color, we added the weight. This is now making that bold. Every step is here, so it will go all the way up to the end when we are ending. Okay, we can just close that. That's the macro. First of all, I want to see whether that's working. So maybe this is where my Excel that contains the data is. Control copy, and then I go back there, and I want to remove the whole of this. Control minus. Let me just paste fresh. So go back to copy, go back. I want to paste my data here as values, and now you can see it's just looking messy. Now what you need to do, just click on developer tab, go to macros, you select the macro that you want to work on that, and then you click on run. You can see everything will be changing. So this will be your template. So you go get your data, you come here, instead of doing all the steps that you have done here, you just click on that one button, everything will be done automatically. All the steps will be done. Now you can take macros to even higher levels. Like for example, you remember we were doing mail matching just the other minute. Now suppose you have so many of those documents, you want to send emails to, let's say, 1,000 people, and all of them, they all have different attachments. Like you have the PDFs for maybe you want to send them certificates, or maybe you just want to send them invoices and they're in PDF forms. You want to send emails to them, but then you want to also attach their documents, and the documents are in a folder in your PC. You can use macro to open Outlook, to go grab that attachment, to come and let's say here you have the emails here. On the email body it says, hey, it is salute this person, and grab something like maybe the ID of the email, and then you create a body for that email. It will do all of that, and then you just click on send. You just sit down, it will start sending one after the other until it's done. So within like 10 minutes you should have everything done. Now a background of why maybe I feel that's something interesting. Now when COVID came, by the way, I work in a hospital, so that day we received how many patients, because some of the machines which were doing PCR around the maximum number of patients we could receive were about maybe 100 or 200, but that day one of the major hospitals around, their machine broke down, so they had to be sent to a facility. So that day we were 2 of us, so we were doing the PCR, etc, everything, and then generating their certificates for traveling. And that day I was having like 2,000 people. We don't have like an automated system to do that, so this is where this helped. So I did generate everything, and then I used macro to send everything. So yeah, I got a raise anyway, long story short. But we move on regardless. No, that was just me making stupid stories. Now we've done everything about now creating a macro. This is now recording. We didn't create from scratch. We just recorded the steps, and then you are able to replicate that. Now suppose you don't want to do that. The only thing that you want to do, instead of clicking on developer, going to macro, selecting the macro, you don't want to make so many clicks. You want to create a button where you'll just be clicking on that button and everything will be automated. Like the one I have on a template is usually how to send emails. Now what you need to do, can just decide to insert a button somewhere. So click on insert, then you go to shapes, yes, shapes, and then you select the shape that you want. Let me just grab this one, and I want this one to be here. want to right click, edit a text, where you run format. I want to create a label, run format. Control all. I want to make this a little bit larger, something like that. Bold. I want this to be somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I think it's looking good. Now I have this. This is, I want to create a button for this, and it's here. You can move it anywhere you want. Now this button, I want to attach my macro. It's very easy. You right click on that, and then you click on assign macro. You click on that, and you can see if you have more than one, you can just you're going to have a list of them. But now, because I only have one which is recorded and saved in this workbook, you can just click on OK, and this is linked. If you hover your mouse around that point, you see it's changing, which means that this is linked. I want to see whether this will work. So go back, control copy. Okay, I'm not even going to go back. First of all, I want to delete everything. Where are you? Yeah, let me take this somewhere else. Cancel. I want you to go there. Okay, somewhere here, somewhere you can see that. So I want to go back, grab the data, and to come back, paste that as values, and then I just click on run format. You can see this is just a single button. You click on it, or you click on it, and everything will run. This will save you time. So that's about recording macros. But here, remember, we are still going to use developer options, and I want to create some at a counter. I'm not going to be creative at all. The only thing that I want is just to create a counter, and maybe you can just look for a scenario where you can be able to apply that. Now I want to do something about, maybe I want to create a counter instead maybe of just entering my data somewhere. I just want to like have that. Let me just it will make sense once I'm done. This is the count. Let's say this is the price. This is the total. I don't know whether you've seen a video that I did on this. This will be the total. And let's say this is where we're going to have the okay, you just leave it. You can have as many. Let me just for the borders, then fence the whole thing. Now is somewhere. I can just decide to let's change this to that, and now I want to make this a little bit larger like that, so that it will accommodate whatever we have. Also this one, I don't know whether it will be okay. Now I think we're good to go. Now I want to create something that will help us in counting. You can just go to developer tab, and then you go to insert, and I want to insert something like this. This is the spin button, form control. Click on that, then it's there now. So this is the button I want to use. I want to click on this button, and when I click, the count should increase here. So what you need to do, just like you've seen, we went to insert, and then I selected this option here. We have others, like you can also, even in Microsoft Word, decide to create like a date picker. So there's several things you can change here, and that's why developer tab sometimes is very important, especially for an engineer like you. Now what I need to do is just right click on this, and then you go to visit the format. Yeah, the format control. What I want to have this here will be the values that I want to, like, this is where you're going to control your button from, in short. When you come to the format control, you can decide to, okay, the current value, where do you want to start from? The minimum value you can enter there. You can decide to, hey, I can go all the way up to -10, or maybe a -100 or whatever. The maximum value, you can put it as high as maybe the upper limit, and the incremental change. Suppose maybe when I click once, I want that to add only one item or maybe more. Yeah, you can decides to have whatever amount of incremental level from this point. And then very important, cell link, the cell that you want to the whole of this format control to affect. Make sure this is highlighted, not highlighted, just place your cursor there. Then you go and highlight the cell. This is where my count is. I click on that. You can see now it's now the selected cell. Click on OK. Scroll value must be between okay, so it doesn't want that, so click on OK. Now you can see we have a number here. If I click on this arrow, it reduces the count. This other one here, it increases the count. Okay, now I want to do something a little bit more so that this makes a little bit more sense. Let's say this is a certain item that costs, let's say, $25. You can just go ahead and format the whole of this. To accounting. So this will be now the dollars, the total. So the total, remember we were using is equals to enter a formula. So this will be the count multiplied, this is now the asterisk, you multiply by the price per unit. Hit on enter, and now you are going to have the totals here. So if you click on this option here, you can see here this is adding the count, and then our formula here is multiplying the count by the price, and then you are getting the total there. Okay, so you might also decide to have like several items. So you want to replicate that all the way down. Click on the cell where that is, and then you go to the fill handle. You drag it all the way up to where you want. It's going to replicate. But now remember, the one that we have here is linked to this cell. So the only thing that you need to do is to go back there and then unlink that and link it to the cell where that is adjacent to. Because if you click on this, you see it's affecting this cell because we have linked this to that cell. But I don't want that to happen. I want this to be linked to this one here. So we are going to do that manually. Like for example, I want to change this, and I want to, so you have to like right click, go back to format control, and then you go to the cell there, then you go and highlight the cell that you want to, then click on OK. And every time you click on that, it's only going to affect only the cell that you have highlighted. So you go back here, format control, highlight that, click the cell all the way, you go back here again all the way to up to the end of whatever you want to do, format control, remove that, highlight the new cell. Let me shut up first of all and make sure I do this for all of them. Okay, I'm done. I'm actually tired. I don't want to do this. Delete. Okay. Now I have them. So we have several of them, and they are linked to the cell adjacent. You can go ahead and maybe this will be, let's say this will be $28, this will be 60, let's say this will be 100, this will be $2. Remember our formula is here, and the formula is not fixed, which means you can just drag all the way down to replicate everything. Okay, let me resize this column here to accommodate everything that we have there. So you can see it's working. Everything is working because we have connected the cells to the totals here. I want to have the totals here, which will be highlight everything there, then alt is equals to, where is that? Alt is equals. Now you have the total there. You can just decide to make sure that that looks like that. I can then, let me underline, double underline that so that you know that that will be the total. Now that total is affected by our count here, increasing, decreasing, etc. And again, you can also, even if you don't want to have that, you can just highlight everything there, delete, or maybe add. Like I want to add them manually, you just enter 56, enter 69, enter 96, You can do that, or maybe just use the handle that you have here to increase the number. So I think that looks good. You can also decide to have like a button here for instead, maybe let's assume that this is a POS, this is a point of sale. You've done with the person that you want to like bill, and instead of coming here then deleting, or maybe you want to come here, enter 0, control enter, then you have all of this. You can decide to have a button that will clear everything here. The one that like the button that we have created for macro, you can just create a macro that will just, when you click on that, it will just come here, clear everything, and then you start entering the new details for the new maybe customer or whoever that you want to do that for. Yeah, so that's that. Now I want to go through nesting a formula, which is something sometimes you might find yourself doing most of the time, because you might find that you want to do several more actions within the same, let's say the same cell. Okay, yeah, sometimes cells. So what I'm going to do will be something a little bit interesting. I don't know how I managed to have such chaotic data with me, but anyway, I'm still alive, so just, yeah, I think this should be okay. But I have a really huge table here, control minus. I want a manageable table. Okay, now I have now this is a table, and I wanted to use VLOOKUP, so I'll just go and grab the names. Where are you? So that I don't lose you. So I want to change the tab color to green. Yeah, that would be good. I want to go and now look for names somewhere. Don't want to start from scratch. Yeah, I'll have the names here. Control to copy, go back to our table. Want to add I don't know why you're behaving like that. I have no idea. Okay, so you can just delete them. Now I have the table with me here, and something I want to do here is to grab them like this, control copy, go to Word document. I want to scramble them. I want to paste them like that. Okay, control Z, let me just have them, then control all, and I want to have some chaos here. I want to toggle them, control copy. And let me first of all paste them here. I want to carry these names. Now you can see what we have here are the cells that contain some really rough looking data. Now you can use a formula to make everything here look as good as this, but then you want to also do maybe a VLOOKUP on this table. You can reduce the numbers that you have here. I have these people. I can't actually go and start looking for one person at a time, so that I can be able to like get their age. Maybe I want to get something like this, control copy. Let me have this on top here. So we have the names here. So I have some few people. I don't want to go and start looking for Millie Rose and then start typing, like for example, copy everything there, and I want to paste that. I want to know their region. So you can just use VLOOKUP to go and look for this name inside here, and I want to bring forward the region. I want to grab the region from this table that you have here. Now, what you usually do, you can first of all convert this to a table, and then you name it, or when you're using VLOOKUP, you can just fix everything so that you will just only be looking on this table. But first of all, let's first of all make the point. I want to just come here and I use is equals to VLOOKUP. Remember, you start by that. I want to look up for the name here. You put a comma between now the arguments, and then you go to the table array. So this is the table where I'm looking that person. So highlight your table like that, and I want to fix that. So F4, so that it doesn't, the table is not moving. Okay, so the column index, I want to return the region, which is now the column number 2. Just put a 2 there, and you put a comma to go to the next argument. True will be the approximate match. In case maybe there's a variation to this name and you want to pick that, you can just use true. But then I want exact one, so which is false. Then you close our formula there. On enter, you can see we have Africa, because it grabbed this name, went to a table, looked for Mary Laws, and then it grabbed the name where we want there on. Okay, you can just go ahead and do this for everyone like that, and you can just go ahead and if you want to have this spilling over, you can either use hash, or maybe you can just add several of them, whatever you want to return. Now if you want to edit the formula, remember you press on F2, and now you can go ahead and edit. Now if you can see here, we have now the column, the table array. Now between the square brackets, you can put several of them. I don't know whether you should do that. Okay, I just, was it that, or maybe something else? I want to have 2. I want to also return 3 and also 4. So you see we are spilling over when you, but we are doing it on the first one here. So we are selecting how many of them will just be brought by. So just come here, grab that all the way down. It's going to grab everything that we have decided to select here. Now this was not the point. My point was I want to nest another formula here, because you see the data is not looking as good, and let me just mess my data a little bit so that at least we are going to make the sense out of that. You can see here I might decide to like add another space there. If I click on the next cell, you can see here we have this error. You can just go ahead and maybe put some more here. The same thing will happen. This one I want to add a space here. I want to, for this one I want to add like 5 of them. So you can see we have some errors. Now I want to correct that error. And again, remember, I don't want to like start copying this, pasting in another column, and then after trimming everything here, because we are going to use trim, then I paste it back. To take forever. You can just use 2 formulas which will be working within the same. So what you need to do, just highlight your table like that. Now I want to VLOOKUP, and whatever I want to VLOOKUP will be now the content of this cell. But this data here does not look good. It has so many issues. I can just go ahead and nest a trim here, so that trim will come and remove extra spaces and whatever funny characters that will be there, and then from there you can just go ahead and now use the clean version of whatever the cell content was, and go to our table and look whatever we are working on. Now what you need to do here, VLOOKUP, this is what we are looking for. You can trim this value. So what you need to do, just type the formula. This is not trim. Where are you? Trim. Yeah, tab to autofill. And remember, this is a formula within another formula. So this is nesting a formula. Just come here. Make sure you cross the formula which you are nesting. So after closing, hit on enter, and you can see now we are able to, even if we have several issues here, you can just go ahead. Let's see whether you're going to have that all the way down, and you can see everything was fixed. You can go ahead, like for example, let me put some more. Let me mess it a little bit. hit on enter, and nothing is going to happen because now we have trim, which is now trimming anything which is not necessary in this name, and using whatever the product there is, and then coming here and grabbing the name. So something very interesting. So yeah, that's what I wanted to highlight, how you nest, and the reason why sometimes it's very essential to nest some formulas. And I remember we also did this when you are creating an automatic serial number, so you are nesting count A in a sequence. So you might be doing that quite often. So yeah.